is your current environment holding you back from exploring new functionality or thinking about new ways to do things or how you could be more efficient, right? And what if, as you're looking at new features and functionalities, what if you want to expand and look at other offerings from ISVs? How do you go about doing that in your current solution? Maybe you have some compliance and regulatory needs that need to be met in your industry, and that capability isn't available out of the box in your current on-prem solution, right? How are you going about finding out if there are solutions out there, right? How do you do that? And how easy is it for you to be able to get some hands-on experience with these additional ISVs without purchasing it first? So we talk a lot about that with our current clients, right? And what their experiences are. And Business Central make that so much easier. When you do purchase a Business Central license, you get your single production environment, but you also get 3 sandbox environments. So these are environments that you can go in and spin up very easily. And these are ones where you can do training or testing in. If you have development, if there are integrations you want to write, you have these 3 sandboxes available quickly and easily for you to work in so that you're not affecting that live prod environment. Microsoft also has a store. It's called AppSource for all of the ISVs that have created extensions or apps that hook into Business Central. And they are constantly adding more and more. I went out there just the other day and there were over 6,500 applications in AppSource. And think of AppSource as an app store. So on your iPhone or your Android, right, when you want to look for an app that connects with your phone, right, where you go to the App Store. Well, AppSource is very much that same thing. So we'll talk about that. And then the great thing with that is the sandbox environments lets you easily play around with new functionality. You can download some of the ISV solutions in that sandbox, right? So that you can get hands-on experience with that application before you actually purchase it. So let's actually go in. I want to show you some of the things that we've been talking about in Business Central. So if I jump over to my Business Central environment, you can see this is Admin Center for Business Central. So this isn't where your end users are going to go. This is the Admin Center where your IT people will be administering your environment, or if you're really small, your partner can also give them access to your admin center and they can help you manage your environment. But you can see in my Business Central tenant, I've got my one production environment, and then I've spun up 2 sandboxes and I've named them, you can name them whatever you want, but I have an example of a development where I mentioned, right, if you're doing some development work or building some integrations, right, between your Business Central solution and something else, you can do that work in a development environment and not affect your live environment. And then they can push those changes into a test or a UAT environment, right? Testing those integrations, making sure they work correctly with your processes before you take them to your production environment. But I want to show you how quickly and easy it is to actually spin up a new environment for you. So let's say you want to create a training environment, right? But you want it based off your production environment because that's where you have all of your customers, your items, your accounts, right? That's where you have your transactions and that's what you want people to be trained on. So I can simply click into my production environment. And then once I'm in there, I can choose the copy option. So up at the top, there's a copy. So I'm telling the system I want to take my live environment and create a copy of it. And I'm just going to name it training. And then I can switch it to a sandbox and click copy. So it's just letting me know that I'm creating a copy of my production. And now within minutes, right, it is doing all the work and creating a new environment for me that is a copy of my production. I didn't have to do a multi-step option. So if I go back out to my environments, you can see it's already preparing that. And it really only takes minutes, right, for it to create that. So very simple. I just want to contrast that with if you wanted to do that same process, let's say in GP, what would that look like? And Microsoft has done a good job. They've got a great KB article out here that talks about, if you're in GP and you want to make a test company off your live company, right? They've created a great KB article, right? But there's some notes at the top. There's some knowledge that you need to understand about what you currently use in your solution to make sure that you're taking that into account when you're building that copy of that live environment, right? So there's some understanding you need to have about different pieces of GP that you may be using. And then it starts walking you through what that process actually is, right? Going into utilities, creating that company so that gets created. And then it walks you through in SQL. You first, right, obviously need to create a backup of that live database, right? So it walks you through creating the backup, and then you obviously need to restore it. So what I just want to highlight is there's an entire document with probably over 40 steps, right, that takes you through the process of spinning up a test environment based on your live environment, right? And you need to run some scripts to make sure things are connected. So again, you need to have someone in your organization that's quite comfortable working in SQL, running scripts, creating databases and restoring them, and then having some of that tribal knowledge if they aren't able to know some of this or follow this, right? There's just some knowledge they need to have and be able to go through all these processes. So it's not quite as simple as a couple clicks and you have an environment. It can be a pretty lengthy process to get that test environment set up.